The things living in my house are not my real family. They look like them, smell like them, and even fold the laundry the way Mom used to. They call me Jonathan, but there's a chilling distance in their eyes that makes my skin crawl, as if every room has been stripped of its echoes and replaced with a horrifying echo chamber. It began 3 weeks ago with a plate of pancakes. I woke to the smell of butter and sugar, my mother standing over my bed, a stack steaming in her hands. "Happy Sweet 16," piped in careless blue icing across the top. "It's not my birthday," I said, my voice tasting like someone else's regret. She laughed a high, unfamiliar cackle and set the plate down without meeting my eyes. "I birthed you, Jonathan. I would remember." After that, the wrongness multiplied like mold. My father, who hates running, began boasting about marathons. My sister called the dog by another name for days. Dad ordered pineapple pizza and then smiled at his own lunacy. When I corrected them, they blinked, patted my shoulder as if soothing a child, and told me I was mistaken. Their faces softened in a way I recognized. Their mouths carried the cadence of my family, but there was no warmth behind it, just an empty, compliant script. For a moment, I found relief in a diagnosis. Capgras syndrome. An article in a cramped medical journal offered a tidy explanation. People can believe their loved ones have been replaced. It felt like a cord I could hold. If I was deluded, that could be fixed. There was comfort in a name for losing my bearings. Then the body began to betray me. A tight, angry rash crawled across my foot. Tiny, precise pinpricks nestled into my armpits like secrets. I woke some nights with my skin raw and hot, as if a distant sun had passed through me and left its memory. My bookcase crawled to the wrong wall. My clothes changed. I discovered a neat incision behind my ear, sutured with a patience that felt clinical rather than cruel. When I touched it, I could feel a hard speck metal beneath the skin. I stopped sleeping, so I set up cameras. The monitors shivered into wakefulness at 3 a.m. while I watched with a lemon-shaped pit of fear in my stomach. In the kitchen, my sister stood like a doll, hands locked at her sides. Something moved in the shadow of the hall. Slender, pale, and almost humorless in its economy of motion. It had 2 tentacles like porcelain snakes and legs too thin to carry it smoothly. Its head bulged, featureless except for a pair of enormous black eyes that drank the light. It touched my sister's forehead with the tip of a glowing tentacle. Her eyes unfocused. She sighed, the sound of a machine that had been switched to standby. Cut to the hallway, my father speaking to air. The creature reached, touched, and my father slid into the same glass-eyed compliance. The main bedroom showed my mother on the bed, a pale creature leaning over her with that patient, antiseptic intention. I leapt from my chair, an instinctive animal scrambled toward the door, and found one of them in my room, less than a foot away, smelling faintly of old books and iron. It looked down at me with those black, patient windows. It touched me. The tentacle warmed like a hand across my forehead, a halo of light. I thought I would scream, but the sound was distant. My limbs felt softened. I went out like someone turning a page. When consciousness returned, I was strapped to a metallic table in a room the color of dental offices and bad dreams. The air tasted like ammonia and old linen. Instruments glinted on the tray beside me. Thin knives, loops, needles that promised clarity. My head thudded with the aftershock of a storm. 3 of the pale things entered without sound. For a terrible second, my mind hunted for the cadence of home in their movement. Then one leaned forward and touched my temple with a tentacle. "Of course we do, honey," it said, and my mother's voice poured out of it, soft and steady. My throat closed. How do you sound like her?" The Senta creature clicked, like a throat clearing. "You did get fried," it said in my mother's voice. And when the others spoke, they wore my sister and father like suits. They they remodeled themselves, and in the next blink, they were my family. Mom's freckle by her lip, Dad's slight stoop, my sister's nervous thumb tuck in her sleeve. I stared at my hands as if they belonged to someone else. The lead my father, or what passed for him, pried my arm open with a needle. Images flooded me. Not memories of pancakes or birthdays, but a sky that was wrong, a homeland of night silk and stone, ships like teeth. I was not a boy named Jonathan. I belonged to a people forced from their world, pilgrims sent as scouts to assess Earth's warmth. Our method was crude and merciful. We took the bodies of hospitable species, harvested memories, and wore them like gloves to pass as kin. My job had been to replace the most trusted member of a household and stand sentinel and antenna, feeding data back to the waiting hostcraft. Shock tasted like copper. I tried to clutch at human anchors, my father's laugh at my terrible jokes, Mom's handkerchief scent, but the images pushed them aside. Blue nights, the taste of salt that was not mine, the gravity of exile. "We erased your memory to import Jonathan's," the man said. "Shape-shifting is trivial, inhabiting a life is work. Your replacements degrade without maintenance, hence the surgeries.